Good evening and welcome. This is yet another edition of Face Nation. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. The topic of discussion today is what is the role of the citizenry during an election. We're in conversation with Dr. Lanka Director General and Chairman of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Authority. And we will be joined by Mr. Upal Jayasuri, Attorney at Law, former President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, and also the current Chairman of the BOI. Let's start off with Dr. Lanka. Dr. Lanka, you have 3 minutes. My question to you is, are you satisfied with the nomination list for the 2015 general elections?
Yes, I am very much satisfied because by such nominations by the parties, they have given a good opportunity to people to select right people, because if there is no bad, then you couldn't choose good, because it is always comparative. If the bad is there, then you can easily choose the good. In this case also, by giving the nominations to all, actually a cross section of the society, then I think and I believe the party leaders and especially the secretary generals of the parties given a very big chance to people to think wisely, to think intelligently and choose the correct people. I think I am very much satisfied with these nominations.
Dr. Samarasinghe, you had names of 18 individuals. 5 individuals were not given nominations this time around. What about the rest of the 13 individuals? Have they been given nominations?
Yeah, actually it is not done by myself. That 18 business is not a business of me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's somebody else. But if I give a reply to you, you have seen some candidates not got the nominations. But if you go through the list, some famous characters with that socially not accepted people managed to get the nominations. But as you said, that 18 or the 5th is not a statement.
The current list, let's take a look at the current list of the political parties. All of them are clean. Is that what you're trying to say?
Actually no. What I said was, the good is always there to, you can choose good ones if the bad ones are there. If all are good, then it is, I think people get difficult to choose the good ones. Then that's why I said I am happy with these nomination lists.
You have been extremely vocal over the last few months with regard to individuals who bring down drugs to the country. However, now you take a very different approach. Why?
No.
Do you fear anyone?
No. I am here because I am not fear to the drug traffickers or the politicians who engage with them. No. They couldn't make me like that.
They couldn't obviously silence you, because what I hear now is the fact that you have been given a security detail for your protection. Mr. Samarasinghe, with regard to what has happened over the last 6 months, are you satisfied the way in which your authority has moved forward during the last few months?
I am not satisfied because I thought to do a lot, but I managed to complete it only 30%. 70% has to be done. But the initial steps we took are a little bit satisfactory, because if you take this nomination business, then we did a big struggle to avoid people getting nominations who are engaged with the narcotics. But fortunately, the struggle, I think the first we won the first battle, but not the war, because now somebody not managed to get the nominations, and now we are not think about the people who didn't get who fortunate enough to get the nominations. Now we are thinking about the future parliament members who are going to be selected. We keep our eyes on them and to take all the measurements to these people engaged with the drugs or the drug traffickers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lanka Singh. I open the floor for the journalists to pose their questions from Dr. Singh, who is the Director General and Chairman of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Authority. Let me introduce very briefly our journalists this evening. Nabin Majid on to my right, on to my left is, immediate left is Sonali Vanagawadugam, and on to my far left is Faraz Shaukat Ali, who joins us this evening on Face the Nation. I open the floor for questions. Let's start off with Faraz.
Hello, Doctor. You've got a list of people which we don't know about. That's fine. However, we all know who has been nominated. Anybody from your list on the nominations?
Yeah, some candidates managed to get the nominations who are in the database of my board.
Does that trouble you?
No, up to now no. Up to now no, because I feel safe. And
how do I get on your list? What do I have to do to be on your list?
Yeah, the thing is, we want to make this list misuse in the election. That's why we told at the beginning we are giving this list only to the Secretary Generals of the parties who compete in the election.
Yes, I think what I'm trying to ask you is, who is on the list? What's the criteria to get on the list?
Yeah, the first question, the who in the list. Then from the members that from Pradeshia Sabha to Parliament, there are some
that's the
representatives of the people are there, and some government officers also in my list.
And then they need to have been involved in a court action or in a investigation or what?
Yeah, some of the people have allegations now are prosecuted, but majority are still waiting without any court procedures, because the things you have to prove in the courts in a proper way, you know how it is difficult. Then the law enforcement agencies have to get the second step on our list to make this happen.
So in your board you have a legal panel, is it?
Yeah.
So what's the test? Is it a criminal test, or is it like on the balance of probabilities?
Yeah, the thing is, the board has no law enforcement powers.
Right.
But the legal body is not for the court procedures.
Right. But it helps you make an assessment.
Yeah, just for the research purposes and all, and the day-to-day works. But we don't have power for that court procedures.
And what do you do if there's an allegation against Mr. X from whichever party?
Yeah.
Does he get on the list automatically, or do you check and you do some preliminary work?
Yeah. Now, if as you said, then first we give this name to our research unit.
Right.
Then we have field officers, and then we occupy these in the places, the streets or villages where that X hang on. Then and we ask about the people, drug users and the drug smugglers well known to us and who in the jail already. Then we gather the faithful informations from them before listing that so-called list.
Dr. Singh, this so-called list, has gained wide popularity over the past couple of weeks and months, and because of that you yourself have been threatened. So my question to you is, has this over-politicization of this fact hindered your work? You said so far only 30% of the work has been done, and 70% needs to be done. What kind of work are we talking about? And should we only focus on the politicians, or are there other areas that you need to focus in your work?
Now in the tasks which have gained by the act, the Parliament Act to my body is very vast, very broad. There we have to make the policies which are suitable for this country, and the second is coordinating and monitoring the law enforcement agencies who involved in the drugs, police, excise department, custom and special task force, so on. And after that we are looking the rehabilitation as well as the prevention, and we do the research, and we the body who coordinate the international organization who involved in the drugs. It's a very big job. Actually it's very vast and broad. What I said was, now up to now what we have done were just doing the prevention, rehabilitation and so on, but by the law it has given big opportunity to address this problem, because you know, if you want to have a good drug control in this country, the demand reduction as well as the supply reduction should be go hand in hand. But if you couldn't de-link the link between the politicians and the drugs, you couldn't achieve that thing, the supply reduction, because the politicians were worked up to now by facilitating the drug traffickers. What I want to do is to break that link, then I can do the rest easily. The 30% what we have done comprise with that, but the rest 70% has to be done. For that I need some powers. That's why I am always asking the powers from the government. Fortunately His Excellency President and the Honorable Prime Minister also promised to make this board independent and only responsible to the Parliament, and the chiefs of the board will be selected by the Parliament Council.
Constitutional Council.
That's what. Then I think the future of the board is will be better than this. If the powers given to coordinate the law enforcement agencies, because you know that in recently our President also mentioned there are 2 government institutions engaged with the drug trafficking, but he also couldn't do much, because he only just mentioned there are 2. But if we have power, we know how to tackle these things, these institutes, and institute is not a building, the people who works there. Then if the power is there, then we can work.
Samasinghe, you're talking about these powers. What are these powers that you have asked for from the President and the Prime Minister? What are the powers? The power to make arrests, the power to what are the powers that you all are asking for?
Coordinating and monitoring powers, because now this is a big task, because if you get custom, they have their own works. Not only they engage with the drugs, narcotics, they have many businesses, and if you get the exercise, their duties are very different. If you get the police, then you know they're the people who handle the traffics and all. But in the case of narcotics, if the powers are there to coordinate, and the thing is the accountability. Now you know the police officer, actually the OIC of the police has responsibilities to make his area free of drugs, but by the law he is not accountable for that. That's the bad side of this
So are you saying in effect that the legal provisions or the legal framework could be amended?
Yeah, it should be happen in near future. If couldn't do so, then I don't think we can gain big results.
Now, we saw during the last 6 months an individual was arrested who was in Pakistan. He was arrested, he was brought down to Sri Lanka, and prosecution is currently taking place. But why is the system so slow, Dr. Samar Singha? Why is it so slow? Because we can't call them criminals unless otherwise the court says he is guilty. But nothing is happening right now. So he is not a criminal, and we can't even mention his name because he's not a criminal. But why is the system so slow?
Yes, because we are practicing Roman Dutch law. Because this is the thing politicians are telling. The difference between the previous government and this government is this procedure. The new government always try to follow the procedures. Then they say there could be panic in these things. Then they need very defined factors to even go to courts.
Dr. Samar Singha, who appointed you, the president or the prime minister?
For the board.
Yes.
Yeah, this is done according to the Parliament Act 1984. The powers given to the minister. Previously the minister was the defense minister. Naturally he was the late president. But now the board belongs to public order.
Now you said that you have death threats.
Yeah.
From whom?
Yeah, basically if you work against drugs, then there's a say in the field. If you work against the drugs, you have to ready to accept gold or brass. The gold means the gifts and the bribes from the drug traffickers and the people who engage. The brass means the bullet. That I take it as a honor given to me, because that says I am working.
No, but who is intimidating you?
Yeah, the drug traffickers and the politicians involved with the drug trafficking.
The former chairman did not have such problems. Did he have threats too?
According to my knowledge, she didn't receive it.
So she did not do her job.
Yeah, the thing is the capacity of people is different, no? As you know, then
but you said that you are not satisfied with the actions. The last 6 months you are not satisfied the way in which you have functioned.
Yeah.
You said that only 70% or 30% of the work was done, 70% was not done.
Yeah.
So are you fulfilling your task?
Yeah. If the powers are given to the board, definitely I will say I'll try my level best to achieve the 100%, but hopefully then I can end up with at least 70 or 80.
You presented a book to the president a few days ago. What did this book entail of? What did you have in this particular book in question?
Yeah, it's just to be presented on the day, the International Narcotic Day. Then there I want to say to the world, to the country, the work we have been achieved. There, then first I thought to give a book like Dina Siyai Vada Siyai, but after we comprised the book, there are 3,500, more than 3,500 works we have been finished
in 6 months,
within 100 days. Within 100 days. But still I am not satisfied, because we have to do 10,000s of works to get a good control.
Many say the work that you have done has only been limited to mere words and not concrete actions. True or false?
Yeah, if the people's thinking is like that, then I have to accept, because if you do something, it will be you can see it. if it is invisible, then it means I have done nothing. But as you said, the steps we have taken are giving some sort of results. Now when I come to the at the time I come to the chair, the price of the packet of heroin, just 20 milligram, is around 400 to 500. Now it is increased up to 1,500 to 2,000, and sometimes it is 4,000. That means the availability of the drugs, heroin, in the country is lesser than the last year. Then it says that some work has been done, and the people awareness on drugs is very much better than the early days. Now earlier the lot of people said with me, this is the very first time we heard about the board like NDDCB. Many of the people of this country never heard it before my regime. Then that's why I am little bit happy about the current situation.
Dr. Samarasinghe, there is a subject that is talked about a lot in the present is the spread of the drug menace in the northern province.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of politicians in the northern province also talking about how after the war, apparently according to them, the spread of drugs has increased. They say there are some who have even said that it's a conspiracy. How do you see the spread of drugs in the northern province?
Yeah, I think it's natural, because if you compare with the regime before 2009, the area is under the unofficial regime of LTT. The LTT usually didn't allow to sell drugs in their control area, but they the people who deal with the drugs. They are the main drug traffickers of the world, and they are the main human traffickers of the world, and trans-organized crimes related to drugs has been done by the tigers. That's why at the last dates the Americans and the European community helped a lot to the government to finish the war against the LTT. But LTT sold these drugs in the south region, not in the north. That's why you couldn't see, and there are punishments if somebody use. There are punishment for the people who engage with drug is, it is, they end up with their lives. But you know that after the war, the huge market opened in the northern province, not only for the drugs, it is especially for the toddy and the arak. Actually, the beer and the arak sale is increased very much high. But if you get the drugs, we have done a good research. With we did with 13,000 families by using the village headman in that area. It says, and we estimated only 9 heroin addicts in the region. From that 9 heroin addicts also, some people came from the south to live there after that war. But if you take the LTT regime, it is almost zero. Then 9 means 900% increase.
Is this government giving due recognition to your board? Do they recognize your board?
This government. Yeah, it is giving now. It is giving.
But we saw the World Anti-Narcotics Day.
Yeah.
You as a chairman did not even have a seat. You were standing on that day.
Yeah.
Are they giving you due recognition?
Yeah, the problem is...
do you agree? You did not even have a seat. You were standing on that day.
Yeah. I have to stand because
there was no seat allocated as for you as the Director General and Chairman of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board.
Yeah, it was a mistake happened by the President's office, because the President office has its own anti-narcotic task force, but unfortunately the director who worked there was he had very poor knowledge in narcotics, but fortunately we got a new director to there, Dr. Samantha. I think we can work with him better than the previous ones, because if you get the President Secretariat, they try to get that now we are doing lot now, but if something going good, there are so many people who are going to be father of that work. That's
Thank you very much, Dr. Lanka Samarasinghe. We are now joined by Mr. Pul Jayasuriya as well, a former president of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka and the current chairman of the Board of Investments. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Jayasuriya. Let me pose a question to you as soon as you sat on your seat. Are you satisfied in the way in which Sri Lanka has progressed over the last 6 months? Because you've been a strong advocate of democracy during your tenure as the Bar Association president. Last 6 months.
I think your question is in relation to the narcotics issue.
Narcotics issue, the way in which Sri Lanka has portrayed itself to promote good governance. What must the citizenry keep in mind during this election?
I think the narcotics issue has really become a national problem, not only for the country but also for the entire region. Particularly, it's not an issue that cannot stand on its own. It has a lot of related facets. The main facet in this country was the law and order situation. The law and order had no place in the society 6 months before, and the rule of law had no place. The law enforcement authorities were helpless and powerless. So in that context, narcotics was only just one aspect of it. Then it is also related to the prostitution. It is also related to the robberies and the murders and the white vans, and all that was happening was interrelated. The politicians that were very powerful at once upon a time, they had to rely on these people, these agencies, without which they could not achieve the political support. At least they thought that they could not achieve the political support from the people, either with their will or against their will. So therefore they had to allow people to grow, a group of people to survive and grow, who became powerful and who had the power to overpower the society and the civil forces, which is the root cause of the problems that we had, with no place for the law and order and the rule of law in this country. Now your question was in relation to whether I am satisfied about what has been happening within the last 6 months. Let's take from today. If you walk on the roads, in fact I was coming from Colombo to this studio, I don't think I saw, there is election in this country in another 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time. I don't think I saw more than one or two posters here and there. That's also in some bylanes. This is not the culture that we were experiencing in the country. Whenever there was election, there was so much of murders that were taking place during election time. There were so many fights that were there between two warring factions of the two different or three parties. They were killing each other, particularly starting on posters, or even sometimes even within their own parties, or they setting fire to officers here and there. There are mushroom officers that were coming up here and there. That is not seen here now. So we can be satisfied that I think for the first time after many decades we are having an election with the election law being enforced to the hilt in this country. I think that is something that entire civil society can be proud of. So this is the immediate result of the revolution that they say has taken place on the 8th of January. This is only one aspect of it. Then there are other instances where the places like the Bible Commission and the FCID they have started their own investigations. They are going into huge problems, the crimes that have been committed. Now take FCID. There are about nearly 200 serious crimes that have been investigated. They have been investigated by police officers. Whether they are in the CCD or the CID or the fraud bureau or whichever, they are all police officers. Or FCID, they are all police officers. Now these investigations, at least I am aware, at least 20 of them have been completed and been sent to the Attorney General Department for decision to forward indictment. So we can see something happening. But this was not the case earlier. Some of the things that have been even investigated, like take one instance, the conspiracy to assassinate the former president by a former minister of the previous regime. The investigation was completed 2 years ago. It was, the entire thing was there. Nothing happened. In the case of another former politician who was assassinated by another member of parliament, who was accused of another member of parliament, and that non-summary proceedings were concluded 2 years ago in Halstorf. The file had to reach the Attorney General's Department for the purpose of forwarding the indictment. That did not reach 150 meters for 2 years. Now that has now reached, I think the indictment has been now forwarded.
Ms. Jayasuriya, the Upul Jayasuriya I know has been extremely vocal on the rule of law, on justice, even during the impeachment of the former Chief Justice. We saw the man in which you played a big role. You even was awarded by the Commonwealth for your services towards the rule of law in Sri Lanka. However, now, what has happened to you? Are you silent because of your new post? I'm surprised. I want to know.
I'm not silent. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm invited. I take the invitation. I accept it. Except that I got a little held up in a traffic block. That's about it all. So I'm here. So I'm ready to answer any question. I am not.
The new post has
got a silent mode, but I'm analyzing the experience, not only mine, what anyone and everyone can see in the society. The change that has taken place, which is welcomed by the civil society, irrespective of any party politics. But there may be some hiccups here and there, some areas. But all are people, human beings who are in different institutions. And also there was a setup, the earlier setup was there for 20 years. Not just one or 2 days, 20 years. So change the culture of the people, the government agencies, the government departments, the authorities, the law enforcement authorities, not so easy. It takes some time. So within a period of 6 months, I think something has been done in the right direction.
Thank you very much. We're going for a short commercial break for us. When we come back, we will speak to Mr. Upul Jayasuriya, the chairman of the BOI and the former president of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, and also Dr. Ilanga Samarsinghe, Director General Chairman of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board. We now go for a short commercial break. When we come back, we are in discussion with these two individuals on the topic, what is the role of the citizenry during an election?